What is up? What is going on? Welcome to Caliber and Character. I am your host, Fallstorm. With me, as always, the beautiful and vocally talented Dictionary Diva. Diva, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Why do you always laugh when I do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a show. You got to have a little showmanship.
You're a really good showman. I think that's why I laugh. I'm like, I like it.
You act like you've never been around me.
I've never been around you ever. Speaking of which, where you been, man? Where have we been?
Well, it's football season and things have been going along pretty good until last night. And I'm still pissed off about it. So I was like, what better way than to vent on social media?
That makes total sense. It does.
Oh, God. I'm still so mad. I'm still so mad.
I couldn't. I was like, what the hell has happened? We were doing so good and we were talking about it. And I was like, all right, at the beginning of the season, we hardly had any penalties. And now we're one of the worst in the conference for penalties.
Oh, the whole fucking thing just fell apart.
Sloppy. It just got so sloppy towards the end. And it was kind of like after Georgia, we just fell apart.
I know. Good morning, Miami Spice.
Good morning, Miami Spice.
I think it's morning. I don't know what time.
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't make sense anymore. None of it. Football, life, social media.
Whole damn world's going crazy.
It has.
And I'm here to tell you people something about you that you don't know, to quote Ron White.
It's like Festivus early.
It is like Festivus. Oh, wait. I'm definitely doing a Festivus episode.
I think we should do a Festivus episode.
Definitely going to do that.
Really good. So back to the Vols. I'm sorry. It's triggering.
Yeah, it is. You're still bringing it up.
I have a philosophy. You need to look at the ugly and look at it and accept it and then learn from it.
I'm doing my Steven Crowder impersonation.
I don't have my coffee with me. Damn it. Damn.
Be prepared.
Maybe I could ask the dog to bring it to me. If I could pan the camera so you could see the dog right now.
Your dog would drink it.
Well, maybe. If he thought there was something good in it.
Yes. This is delicious.
This is food.
Is this food?
I would like to try it if it's food. I love food.
Oh, my goodness.
So you don't want to look at the ugly?
No.
Okay.
I saw it on I saw it in clear HD TV last night.
Yeah. Well, you're going through the 5 phases of grief acceptance, and it's okay. Denial is normal.
Miami Spice, I will not reveal what's in this coffee. And we'll just leave it at that.
That would be good too.
Actually, would be a nice Irish coffee, a little Bailey's, a little Jameson.
Yeah. Yeah. Or that recipe I have, which one day might come to fruition. So where have we been besides football?
No, that's my excuse. Football.
Yeah, really, that is mine too.
Football, work.
Yeah. Being around the masses of humans, because we get to do that now. We get to be around humans.
Yeah. And is it me or are they getting worse?
I think I believe so. And I've sadly devoted some thought to this.
You mean we have material? Wow.
Well, yeah, we do have some material. I couldn't find exactly what I wanted because you're like chomping at the bit. And I'm like, no, I need to find the right clips. I was not able to find the right clips, but I found some. So I have this premise that, and most people, it's widely known that suicidality is a word. I looked it up. It really is a word.
It is a word?
It is a word.
Okay.
It's a real word.
It's a real word.
It's a real word.
It's not one of them Urban Dictionary words. It's a real word.
It's a real word. Anyway, depression, anxiety, suicidality has been going up in line, like a corresponding line with social media use, especially in the youth, and that's before 2019. Like, um, there's publications that discuss it, how
Right.
anxiety and depression was going up in the youth. Remember the bullying? There was a lot of talk about bullying in schools
Yes.
and cyberbullying and all that.
Well, there was even a case of it here, not like here, but close to here,
Yeah.
that made national news. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there was this, impetus to try to limit kids' use of social media and to try to protect their mental health. So I
Right.
have this premise that after 2019, after the end of 2019, when the when things just kind of got topsy-turvy,
Yeah.
that a wider sector of the population that didn't typically use social media was forced to use social media. So all of those trends that were analyzed in the youth then started to be applicable on the society as a whole
Right.
because of the imposed lockdown and the closure. Have I lost you? What
No,
happened?
no, you've lost me. I'm kind of thinking through this.
Oh, we were
So
talking about it real good before this.
we were talking about it real good before we came on here. Jeez. No, it's true. I mean, you already had a degree of, well, let's just call it what it is. You already had a degree of social imbalance
Mhm.
before the lockdowns.
Exactly.
And then once you had the lockdowns, then everybody was forced to stick with social media because you couldn't go out. You couldn't, see your neighbors face to face. If you did go out, it was like in short bursts, kind of like what I did. I
It was
would,
clandestine if you
the,
did.
the
You
only
did it in
time that,
secret.
yeah, the only time that I went out was to like run to the grocery store or run to the convenience store and then run right back.
You mean you interacted with humans?
I saw them. I wouldn't say I interacted, but I saw them. It was more like a Jane Goodall and the Chimps.
Covert.
Yeah,
You were observing them?
I was observing their behavior like it was a National Geographic episode.
I was observing their behavior from a distance, and it was quite astounding.
This
I
was
would document my findings.
people walking around with masks on. I couldn't see their faces, but I could see how they looked so strange. Like they all needed to take a grumpy, preferably on the bed.
Oh my gosh.
No, it was what people that actually went out because they weren't scared. Let's just call it what it is. They weren't scared. They knew they had to get stuff for home. And I'm not talking about the people that went out and bought like pallets of toilet paper.
Oh, toilet paper's a necessity.
Toilet paper is a necessity. I'm talking about people that just went out to get basic supplies. Like, I'm going to get some groceries for a couple weeks and then I won't have to leave the house for 2 weeks.
Yeah. 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 But were you, because I found myself doing this too. I keep a large personal bubble anyway. I like,
Oh yeah.
I like a big bubble. So that keeping 6 feet from people didn't bother me one bit. It just didn't. I don't like being up in people's stuff, and I don't want people being up in my stuff, so that didn't bother me. But did you notice that you were, like, on guard for or aware of people's proximity to you? Like, you were kinda having a suspicion about people?
Well, it wasn't more that. It was more, I kept thinking, I kind of like people keeping space from me because I don't like being that close to people anyway. And I can remember, before all the lockdowns and everything, standing in line, everybody just being like right up on your ass.
Get off my
And
ass, man.
if you weren't right next to the person in front of you, you were afraid somebody was going to cut in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the fact that we had, ever the CDC was saying, maintain a safe distance of 6 feet. I kind of liked it because I don't like people up on me. I
Right.
get a little combative. Let's just say.
Have you got some inherent anger issues?
Oh, I've got so many anger issues. It's not even funny. So
Okay.
I like being able to keep, everybody keep a safe distance, staying away from me, staying out of my personal space. And for the most part, the people that went out were cordial and they
Yeah.
kind of understood.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you think about back to 9/11,
Yeah. Yeah.
you had that 2 weeks where everybody kind of got along
Yeah. Yeah.
and everybody
Mhm.
understood and everybody was more understanding. They were kinder. And it felt like that for a little while.
For a little while. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
little did we know that that really was just an incubator for
Well,
absolute fucking madness.
I agree. I agree. And I feel like, so going back to that, where we knew that the data was there for kids, that anxiety and depression rates trend upwards with social media use.
Right.
And I have a feeling, this is just intuitive. I'm sure there's research out there. But part of the reason why is because you're not face to face with someone. You don't get those behavioral cues. You don't get the body language cues, and you don't have the social cues as you would if you were in person with a group of people. So you're able to interact with on social media. You're able to interact kind of in a solitary manner with hundreds to thousands of people, but there's no consequences for what you say, what you do, how you say it. There's just no consequences because the behavioral cues and the social norms aren't there.
Right.
It,
You brought the analogy of kind of being in a bar, being around people.
mhm. Mhm.
And about, I'd say half to about 3/4 of the crap that gets put on social media, you would not say if you were face to face with that person
No, no, never. You just
because you get punched in the mouth.
or you'd at least get a dirty look. Whereas when you're n even when you're on a panel, let's say you're on a panel and the cameras are on,
I
you
hate that
might get
word.
what, a panel? When you're
Yes.
on a forum and you're having a very intimate discussion with people and everyone's talking about their opinions. But, well, I mean, like, so some people will behave in a manner that they would never behave if they were physically in person with a group of people.
Right.
They just they don't behave that way. I'm the same either way. I
You know,
normally
it's
don't talk much
you know,
unless
it's
I
it, it
unless
it's
I
kind of
can.
like having the one friend that drank too damn much.
Yeah. That's me.
But God. But
Woo!
now it's like all of you are drinking. All of you are sitting behind your keyboards and all of you are drinking and just spewing out just absolute nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Nobody thinks about what they say. They look for these echo chambers. It's they're just nuts.
yes. 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 Um, there was let me I'm gonna see if I can pull something up. Let's see if I can do it right here. I'm gonna see when this was written. So this was a book written originally in 1967, and it's called The Play Theory of Mass Communication. Now, have I read this? No, I have not read this.
This is not something I would read.
But it's a discussion on mass communication theory. And this theory was begun back in the early 1900s, what we would think of as the early 1900s, but about 100 years ago, this theory developed. I'm going to see if I can share it. Let's see if I can do that.
Do. I want to bring this up. Hold on.
Okay.
Miami Spice said it's like getting a nasty email from your boss when they can just walk to the next office and have a conversation with you. Yeah, it's because all these damn people on here are cowards. You're cowards. You don't have the balls or the whatever to be able to say the exact same thing to the person's face. Because a lot of you don't know how to socially interact. You think social media is how you're supposed to react, and unfortunately, now it's spilling out into the real world.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And I'm waiting for some of these people to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
So because there needs to be a correction.
There does. All right. I don't know. Can you see this?
Yeah.
It's very boring. This is almost like school. It's like schooling.
Oh, there you go. And you are in control.
What do you know? So mass communication theory concerned itself primarily with how the mass media influences the attitudes, beliefs, and actions of people. Little evidence up to 1959, however, mass media had any significant effects on the deeper or more important beliefs of people. I think that's interesting that this was something that was discussed years ago, 100 years ago. How does mass communication affect the populace? And how does it affect their beliefs, their attitudes? And I think we're seeing it 100-fold because of what happened after 2020, where people could not have the social interaction and everyone had to shift rapidly to social media to form connection and bonds.
Yeah,
but it inherently, the data already showed that it leaves people feeling more anxious and more depressed to have connection in that form because it's not fulfilling.
So it's kind of like how, and you and I have discussed this, when you haven't had like an exercise routine in a while.
Oh, damn. Why'd you gotta bring that up?
I know. I'm as guilty as you are. And you're having trouble sleeping. You find you have a little more anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Social media is kind of the same way. And that if you don't have that personal human face-to-face interaction, all you're dealing with is people on social media, then you haven't developed that social muscle.
Good analogy. That's a good analogy.
So therefore it's like you get out into the world amongst real people. It's like, I don't know what to do.
You're tweaking.
You're more anxious. You've got you've got people that are more angry. They're more short with people.
Yeah.
I think as I've gotten older, I've been more tolerant of situations, especially, you go through the drive-through, you go through the checkout counter at Walmart or something, and White Rabbit. No, I'm not talking about Barbara. She's excluded from this.
Poor Barbara.
Poor Barbara.
She's hateful that day.
She's hateful. But I've become more tolerant of it because I look at the situation first. I'm like, okay, they're probably short-staffed. Okay, they're probably low on products because of supply chain or whatever you want to call it. And you've got these people that are just entitled little shits that don't have any understanding and no awareness of what's going on because, again, all they've known is sitting in front of a damn phone or a damn keyboard and interacting that way. And, well, if I don't have what I want, I can immediately, just go to Google or go to Amazon or go to whatever, and I can do everything from there. I'm not used to having to go out and get it. It's kind of like you're missing the whole hunter-gatherer interaction muscle.
Because they're not fully.
You don't go out and get it.
Yeah,
you don't know how.
They're not fully exercising it. They're not. It's kind of like when you do a, let's say you're doing a squat, and then you just kind of squat down just enough to bend your knees, but you're not getting the full squat. So you're not developing that muscle fully. And then if you have to use that muscle, you're not strong enough to carry the weight or the burden. And I think that's why this is a really good analogy. Good job, Volstorm. Really good job.
Hey, I'm smart every once in a while.
That's right. You're a smart feller.
I'm an observer of human behavior.
That's right. You're sure enough. So I think people, what we're seeing now, and I tried to look up stuff about, I probably can't even say it on YouTube, because when I was looking it up through
Well, we're not
Google,
monetized. I ain't worried about it.
well, that's true. That's true. But that whole theory of mass formation psychosis that was postulated back in 2020, and right now, if you pull it up and look about it, it's heavily stigmatized. Just that theory. So that's actually what led me to the play theory of mass communication, because the theory of mass psychosis, mass formation psychosis, actually is a branch off of the play theory of mass communication. But anyway,
Right.
I'm getting too analytical. I'm so sorry.
That's what you do.
That's what I do. Yes, I think too much. Yes, indeed. But I think what we're seeing now, because like if I go on social media, and I haven't been using it a lot lately, I've got other stuff going on. Not only
Yeah.
football, I've got some other stuff going.
Yeah, I got 3D work and shit to do. I ain't got time
That's
for all this crap.
Yeah. So when I go on social media, I'm like, what in the hell? Wh- What are these people thinking? Where is this coming from? Like, has everyone lost their minds? I'll quit looking at social media, because I'm like, damn, everybody's gone crazy.
Well, if you don't have anything else in your life and you're pouring all your time and all your energy into this,
Yeah.
then this becomes your life.
Yeah, if you're in search of connection through social media, you need to know right off the top, you're going to be unfulfilled. It will never give you what you need it to give you, unless you have firm parameters and you have worked out your emotional muscle, your crazy muscle. It just won't give it to you.
Exactly. Well,
And then what do you
go ahead.
No, I'm thinking about
No.
you become a vessel that's just spewing more insanity.
Exactly. And this says it right here. They live in a 2D bubble, not reality. And that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Is all the, I'm just gonna be candid. All these fucking idiots that get on here and think that this is real life. This is not real life. And you're the people that haven't been around real people in so long, you don't know what real life is.
Well, I wonder too if it starts to color their perspective in such a way that they look at everything through a set of glasses that automatically, and they're not rose colored anymore. They're like distorted.
They're in HD, man.
Yeah, man. No, like I feel like their Oculus is just programmed wrong. And so they
Yeah,
see
you lost me.
everything wrong. Did you watch Good and Evil? It was something that White Rabbit had mentioned that she loves watching it. I think that's the name of that show, isn't it?
Evil. It's just
Evil.
called Evil.
Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evil. And there's a storyline about this 3D, well, an Oculus set, one of those, why can't I think of the word? Damn it. Metaverse glasses. What the hell am I
Yeah.
thinking of? Yeah. And so the
It's called
kids,
it's called an Oculus. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one
So
of
the
them.
kids got a set and they were playing this game, but because the game was possessed, what they were seeing was just some dark shit, some
Right.
scary shit.
Right.
And the kids were like, "No, it's fine. Everything's fine." Of course, they're naturally drawn to it because kids are curious. And I think that also parallels with the whole social media thing. Kids were more drawn to social media because they were curious about it. It was new and,
Right.
a good way to connect with your friends. But it was possessed. for those kids, and the mom had no clue, really. There's a
Right.
point there.
And that's another thing. I mean, it's along the same lines, but it's not along the same lines. When you have kids whose brains do not fully develop until age 25, constantly bombarded by this, and you don't know what your kids are watching, what do
Yeah.
you think's going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause so I think the problem, like, we're gonna solve all the problems of the universe right now.
Let's do it.
Right here on Caliber and Character. We're gonna solve the world's problems. But what are you eating? What are you consuming from social media spheres? Because there's so many spheres. Are you in an echo chamber? And is your perspective clouded now by what you're consuming?
Right.
Like, it's not even the beginning stages anymore. You're in it. You're in a psychosis, but you have no clue that you're there because that's the reality that you're in.
Well, and one thing I've seen social media do is you've seen this where people, people will go back and analyze old tweets. It's to where
Yeah, the
we don't
cancel.
even have language anymore because
No.
everybody has to analyze every single word of what
Mhm.
somebody puts up as opposed to the context.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we're missing that because we don't interact as people anymore. You
That's
know,
another good point.
you could spout off a sentence, and yeah, if you took apart every single little word in there, you can find something wrong. But when you're used to just talking and bullshitting with each other, you don't even think about that because that's not what the context is, not that individual part.
Yeah. And when you're face to face talking to somebody, there's stuff that will just bounce off, you know?
Right.
They might say something that's horribly offensive taken singly, like if you were able to pull that text out on paper, look at it, analyze it, and be like, "That's damn, that's horrible." But when you're talking and it just bounces off and there's the context around it,
Right.
there's nothing to it. Nothing to it.
It's not only are people over analyzing what's being said, it's they people become paranoid as hell.
I was
Just
gonna get
overly
Yes,
paranoid.
I was gonna get to that. When you remember when I was you remember just about 10 minutes ago when I was asking you if you were paranoid about being around people
No,
in the
I'm not afraid
stores?
of people.
No,
Sorry.
but you had that view of like, some people had this sense of suspicion around others whenever they did have to leave the house to go get necessities during the 2020
I didn't
era.
have that.
You
No.
didn't have that because, well, I think you're grounded or
Unbraided.
you're really crazy. One or the other. I don't know.
We're all crazy.
We're all
We
crazy.
all have a level of crazy. It's
We're
how you
all
manage it.
crazy. Yeah, yes. But, like, a lot of people had that sense of paranoia. They would look at people with this suspicious mindset whenever they'd go out. And you really had it when there were vocal Karens that would call people out for either not using their mask, not using it right, standing too close, not getting
Oh
the
God.
vaccine.
Yes.
I shouldn't have said that word.
Hey, I did have those moments. Especially when we were coming out of it. I'm like, dude, 6 feet. Back
See,
off me.
I was
But
never
that was a personal space thing. I wasn't worried about health.
yeah, because I got it, I actually got it before there was a vaccine available. I had the
Right.
virus and it, you know, that's a whole other story that we probably can't share on the
Oh
this
Lord, no.
venue. But that because I had that experience, it completely changed my perspective about how is this going to run its course and then my background being what it is,
Right.
anyway, but I just was watching people's behavior throughout the whole thing and I was like, what is this doing to people? What is this doing to their psyche? And now we're seeing the fallout of not having human interaction and the social media platforms and this degree of polarization, and I'm going to use the nice little word of play theory of mass communication because that one's not stigmatized and it was written almost 100 years ago.
I want you to think about something for a minute, and everybody tuning in. You know how crazy it gets around the Christmas season? Imagine what this year is going to be like. Imagine how crazy that's going to be. Because people already ramp up. They already, they're trying to hurry to get a parking space. They're trying to hurry to get, the latest toy or the latest gift or whatever this year, the Black Friday videos are going to be hilarious because you're going to see mass panic.
Do you think
I fully predict that? Now, a lot of people have gotten away with it or from it and are doing more shopping online. That's kind of what I do, because to me, the Black Friday sales really aren't worth it. But I think it's going to be worse. And it's like, it's not just Black Friday. It's like the whole season. People drive worse. People are more rude. Now, add that on top of what's been going on normally.
Yeah.
It's going to be worse.
I'll be curious to see how it plays out. There's so many layers to that so many people have been switching to, rather than going in person to shop, there's the online shopping.
Right.
So that's a factor in this. I wonder if, and not only that, but consumerism. Is consumerism still at an all-time high, or are people spending less now because of inflation?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Starts at Black Friday. Usually lots of people took down Halloween decor and went straight to Christmas. No, I remember going into some stores where they would have Halloween stuff on one side of the aisle and Christmas stuff on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah. At the Dollar General, they were doing that, and I didn't like that at the Dollar General.
Well, they did it at the Walgreens too.
Did they? I don't like that. One season at a time, y'all. Let's enjoy it. Everybody's in a hurry too. Why is everybody in a hurry?
Everybody is in a hurry. Oh my goodness. Let's see.
Are you're reading the chat, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. How about babies and toddlers not interacting with social cues? We have yet to see what the consequences. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And absolutely. It's like, if the adults don't know how to fucking act, how do you think the little kids are going to act?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's the American Association of Pediatrics or American Pediatrics. I'm not good with those things, but
you're supposed to be professional.
I know I'm supposed to be professional. There's a reason why I am what I am. But they finally came out and said, no, kids need to be in person for education. They finally came out and said it. It took them a long time because they were having to balance two very conflicting stances, which is stay home between what the human biology needs at developmental stages.
Right.
And it took them a long time to come out and say, kids need to be in school. Yeah, right. They do.
Right. Well, because you had a lot of those kids that knew, well, I could just turn the computer off. I don't have to interact.
Yeah, they didn't.
That was a big part of the problem. Well, that's a big part of the problem with social media is you can pick and choose how you interact, which creates your echo chamber. You're not getting all the information. You're getting part of the information.
You're getting the part that you want to look at through your skewed glasses.
Right.
And that's how the echo chambers develop.
But then you think that translates into the real world.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't. It doesn't. Makes me want to pull up that. Oh, well, I can't think of it. So.
Right.
Yeah, never mind. That thought. Let's let that train of thought derail.
We're going to pull the switch and put it onto a different track.
Yeah. Well, I listen to a lot of Lex Friedman. And he's probably
he's good to go to sleep to.
He is good to go to sleep to. Sometimes he'll have some really interesting guests on, which I like. But he has different perspectives and opposing opinions. Like he had Ben Shapiro on just about a week ago, and then he had another guy on who was more progressive in his thoughts. What is that dude's name? Not Steve-O. That's Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's Joe Rogan.
That's Joe Rogan. Let me see who the other guy was. See if I can find it. Oh, some guy named Destiny, who's a progressive.
Sounds like a stripper.
It does. His actual name is Stephen Bonnell or Bonnell, aka Destiny, and he's called the Ben Shapiro of the left. So, like, he had Ben Shapiro on episode 336.
He calls himself Destiny. You're supposed to take him seriously.
I know, but it makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder what echo chamber. But I listened to his, and his take is, oddly, he and Ben Shapiro have a lot of similar thought processes, and just their lines of deviation are just slightly different. And it creates a whole different continuum where, Ben Shapiro is more on the right side of the continuum, and then this fella Destiny is on the left side of the continuum, and I like listening to that stuff.
But that's the way most people are. We've been able to kind of skew views through social media, but the fact of the matter is that most people have very common beliefs.
They do.
Yeah, there's a little deviation here and there, but most people have a common set of beliefs. They know right and wrong. But as we're stuck in these little boxes, because that's what it is. It's a box, whether it's a computer, whether it's a phone, whatever. You're stuck in a box. And because we're stuck in these boxes.
I'm sorry. My mind went in the gutter.
Oh.
Got my dick in a box.
What is the Christmas season? Dig in a box, girl. Dig in a box. And because of that, we think that, oh, well, this is the way the world is now. It's you have to believe this or you have to believe this. No, it's never been black and white. Life has never been black and white. It's always gray. And a lot of what you think is going to bleed into what somebody else thinks.
Yeah.
But social media had you believing that, no, you're on absolute extreme sides of the issue.
It's
no.
very concrete perspectives. And you're almost conditioned through social media to have this concrete perspective. And then there's the emotional component that stems from it, where if someone does have a disagreement or a slightly different perspective, then you emotionally feel it and take it personally.
Right.
And that's where the psychosis comes from.
Yes. And you take it personally because that is your whole focus. You have no 3D life.
Well, I had talked to Graham. God, sorry, Graham. We never did follow up on this, but we were going to talk about stoicism because he was interested in it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, man, I've been following stoicism for quite a few years now." And just as a thought process where you have to evaluate what's come in to your field of vision, your perspective, and then analyze it and assess your emotional reaction that you get from it and whether or not that's valid or it's logical. Like, you have to think about things rather than reacting to them. Or like
imagine the possibilities.
Imagine that. And it's crazy. My favorite yoga fella, there's a line that I quote from it all the time. He's like, you can be uncomfortable, but you don't have to be so reactive to it.
Yeah.
And when you're holding down dog for 5 minutes, that plays in your head again and again.
Okay, this sounds more like Caliber and Character After Dark.
Yes, it does. When you're holding down dog for 5 minutes.
I'm going to get you in the right pose by humping you.
He does do that, and it's crazy to watch. Brian
He's a perp.
Kest.
He's a perp.
Brian Kest. I don't know. I like him. I
I
like
bet
him.
you do.
He's, when he had the long hair, he's a good-looking feller.
He looked like the lead singer from Velcro Pygmies.
Yeah, he did. I like
He really did.
Yeah, I like them too.
Anyway,
squirrel. But the thoughts of when it starts to become personal and you don't have those behavior cues, you don't have the body language, you don't have the ability to filter the context, then what you're perceiving and viewing, you're missing about 50% of the entire conversation or interaction, really, when you're on
right.
social media. You're missing half of it.
And really what all this has done is turned up everybody's sensitivity. It's also turned up their selfishness. It's how many times have you and I joked about, oh, well, somebody does something crazy. It's like, oh, you're in my way. What I have to do is more important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really think all this it's made people more sensitive, and it's also made people more selfish.
Yeah.
It's all about me.
Yeah.
And that's what an echo chamber can do is you're focusing on only what you believe, and then it goes to the extreme. Therefore, you're translating that out into the real world. You become more sensitive if somebody disagrees with you, and you become more selfish because it's like, well, I'm focusing on me. I don't care about you, as opposed to like some common fucking decency.
I think another favorite of mine, I just snapped my fingers. Did you hear that? Snap my fingers. Brett Weinstein and Heather Heying. Is that her last name?
Yep. Heather
Brett
Heying.
and Heather Heying. Evolutionary biologists. They have a good show too. But they'll talk about, from an evolutionary perspective, what they see occurring right now. They wrote a really good book, which I haven't read yet, but I bought it. What's that Korean word where you buy books just to have them? That was a trivia question one night.
Oh, I don't know.
I know. Anyway,
I forget most of those damn. I'm cheating off of people anyway, just so anybody wants to know. I'm usually going, I don't know what the hell that is. What's the consensus? Or I'll look at particular players. So that's my secret.
You cheat off of guava, don't you? You cheat.
Sometimes.
Cheater.
He cheats off me too. It's okay.
Don't ever cheat off me, because some days my brain works and some days it doesn't.
I still can't believe you got the periodic table question wrong.
Hey, man. Stuff happens. Stuff happens. I couldn't help it. Those neurons weren't firing that day.
Yeah.
Well, you see how my neurons fire anyway. They're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I had a point about the evolutionary biology thing, but that train got derailed.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. From an evolutionary perspective, if you think about the hunter-gatherer population,
right.
You did have a very self-focused mindset, not only for preservation of yourself, but you weren't just hunting and gathering for yourself. You were doing it for your tribe or your immediate family. And what evolution shows us is we can't survive solely surviving on our own. There has to be this sense of community. You have to help others to get more of what you want. And there's the belief that the agrarian societies, of course, grew out from the hunter-gatherer societies, because everyone realized as a collective there could be more benefit. And this was something that hit me one day at the football game, and I was watching the band. Yeah. And I was watching how this large group of people was able to get together in synchrony to create something that was so beautiful and fun to watch.
Right.
And just how the collective can be an amazing thing. You get so much more done as a collective. But there has to be that social interaction, behavioral interaction to get it done. And there has to be the desire to do it.
Right.
I think what's happening in this social media sphere is you have too many people who are operating solely for themselves, and they're disruptors to the collective.
Yeah. That's why trolls are so famous.
I know.
You know, it's
But
and once or twice, yeah, it's funny, but after a while it's just like, okay, you're annoying.
why you gotta say that, man? I only
Well,
troll occasionally. Hey, we got Rally on here. Did you see that? What's up? What time is it there?
it's Rally.
It's Rally.
I love Rally stuff.
I do too. It's fun to watch.
It's awesome. Plus, I get all my wrestling news from Rally. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's very true. So, did I go off too much on a?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
no. I think what you're trying to say is that in order for things to really progress, in order for things to evolve, you have to have people that actually find common ground with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're able to move forward. Then you're able to create something bigger than yourself.
Mm.
Right now, we ain't creating shit.
Yeah, we are.
Well, you and I are.
Oh yeah. Oh, the world.
Because we're on here. But yeah, because you've got a bunch of little ants. They're just scattered out all over the place like they're running out of a damn anthill. As opposed to working together, bringing in the food and bringing in the leaves and all that stuff.
Protecting the queen so that there can be more.
It's always all about the queen.
It's always all about the queen. I mean,
Yes, we know. But
you're an outburst nerd is I always want to say outburst nerd. I'm sorry. It's something that my mouth does. I'm so sorry. Outpost nerd. He said we need people like how Tom Hanks made Wilson on the island. And
yeah, but Wilson didn't do anything.
He was a companion man. Good point. Good point. It was not a fulfilling companionship.
Exactly. And that's what's social media is Wilson.
Social media is Wilson.
Yeah, it's there, but does it do anything? Really?
Did it keep him sane?
Does it help your life at all?
I wonder.
That's like when I get on YouTube. I get on YouTube to look up how to do stuff. I don't get on there to get somebody else's opinion because I want the information. I don't want opinion. That's the reason the news has gone downhill. Yeah. It's all about opinion. It's all about whatever slant you could put on opposed to just give me the facts.
Yes, just give me the fact. Well, so many people have switched.
God. Squirrel.
So many coconuts.
So many coconuts.
2 hours later.
2 hours later.
The coconut.
Yes. But it's that give me the facts and then let me interact with some, because one thing that will shape my opinion from time to time is talking to someone about their experiences.
Yeah.
It's like, I never looked at it from that point of view.
I never saw it from that perspective.
Doesn't mean I agree with it, but it gives me a different perspective. I mean, if anything else, it might help me, the next time I have to argue about it, be like, well, I've heard this, but
Mm-hmm.
But at least it's real interaction.
It's real, man.
It's real, man.
It's totally real.
You want to be a Karen and you want to sit there and complain about, well, they didn't get my food out fast enough and they didn't do this. And have you ever worked in one of those damn places?
Yes.
It's a crap hole to begin with.
Yes.
And you're paying for convenience.
That's that would be a whole other topic.
And a lot of times, especially this time of year in those fast food places, in those retail places, it's teenagers.
Yeah. Or it's folks that maybe just don't want to have to think the deep thoughts and manage people and lead people.
Right.
So they're fine doing a task repetitively, which is what sales is and retail and fast food. It's doing a task repetitively. You don't really have to think.
Right.
Anyone who's ever been out cutting wood knows, or mowing the yard, it's just repetitive labor, and you actually have time to think in your own head and not really get involved in the world.
Imagine being in charge of those people.
Mm,
Imagine
yeah,
having to manage all that.
I don't know if I could do that.
Oh,
Maybe.
there's no way in hell, because I'd probably get fired on by my first couple of days after I yelled at one of them.
I know, I know.
Be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Hey,
Who told you to do that?
I've got a question.
You have a question.
I
Okay.
do. So the Elon Musk poll about allowing
Trump.
back on.
Yeah.
I was curious about that. And the only reason this made me think of it is Outpost. I said it right. Outpost Nerd said bots. And I
Yeah.
wonder if the reason he locked out the staff prior to launching that poll was so that bots couldn't answer that poll. Like, it had to be a genuine poll.
Well, I think it's that, and he was trying to block out sabotage.
Sabotage. That's a good song too.
Honestly,
You might be right.
because it took me a minute, especially like as soon as he put that poll out, I was like, okay, the whole reason he locked those people out was he's going to let Trump back on.
I wonder though, I really do. Like, how much influence would the bots have had on that poll? What was the poll? Hey, checking. The
Look,
sexy giggler.
good morning checking.
Yeah, baby. But I wonder.
And Jen, who's half asleep.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. The dogs woke me up. Pacing.
Anyway, but you were saying
The bots. I was just curious that if he had strategically done that to eliminate the possibility of sabotage through the bots and then sabotage through other potential means
yeah.
to shut the system down. I wonder what the code looks like for that.
My favorite quote from him was something about somebody was bitching about him. He goes, "I'm putting the internet in space. I'm not really worried about the concerns of somebody who has written code for an app."
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one's a good one. He's a right smart feller,
he is.
but he only loosens up with.
There's stuff that he does that I don't agree with, but I can respect him because at least he's pretty down the line. It's like, yeah, I'm all about having fun and creating a little chaos. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think
It's getting, life is chaotic.
it is.
Natural human interaction can be a little chaotic. My problem is the people that push it to the nth extreme and think that's real life.
Yeah.
No, you're the outlier. You're not the norm.
I think their Wilson is tainted.
I think they drilled a hole in Wilson.
Wilson's flat now.
Wilson's flat. Oh, jeez. Oh my goodness. Yes. Thank you, expert.
Oh yeah, the like.
Yes,
button.
please hit the like and subscribe button, especially if you're new to the channel. We're not as regular as some folks.
No, we're not. We're not.
But we just kind of get on whenever we
well, we're living a 3D life.
Yeah. I have stuff that doesn't doesn't pertain to social media, YouTube. It's called life.
I'm still looking for takers to go with me to Peru to do ayahuasca. So,
I know.
maybe that could be experts' next fundraising cause is the trip to Peru.
The trip to Peru.
Of course, there's a place in Kentucky that does it too.
Why does that not surprise me? It's Kentucky.
You can find that on Vice. Like you can see the whole docuseries on that. It's pretty cool. Pretty interesting.
Oh my goodness. Well, you got anything else for the people?
No, I don't.
I think we've about run out of bitching material.
I'll pay for Peru. I've got to wait for, the lottery win. What the fuck
No.
is Dictionary Diva talking about? I'm talking about 4D experience, man. 4D, man.
Oh, like he knows.
I know. He might benefit from it, though. It might be good for him.
He probably would. Might straighten him out.
Might. Yeah. It'd be kind of fun.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you've gotten all the anger out of my system from last night. If not, we'll be back on here.
Yeah, do it again because you're like, I need to talk about it again. We'll talk.
Okay, I got to get back on here.
We'll talk about the game.
I don't know. No.
You're not ready yet.
No.
5 stages.
I'm not
of acceptance.
ready. That's right.
5 stages.
That's right. I haven't gone to acceptance yet.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thanks everybody for tuning in, and be sure to hit the like and subscribe, and tell your friends about us. Y'all have a good day.
Bye.